Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Mina. Today I thought I would do a little booktube newbie tag because I'm on booktube and I'm a newbie, so here we are. I don't know why this video is making me so nervous just to answer questions like I'm interviewing for a job. Like, girl, calm down. First question, jumping straight in. First question is, why did you start this channel? I have been watching booktube forever, like just forever. Not since like the OG YouTube times, but like the last 5 or 6 years I think I've been watching, like on and off. And I have always been like, I want to start a YouTube channel. Oh, I want to start a YouTube channel, but I can't. And then this year, on my birthday, I spoke about it a little bit already, but on my birthday, I was like, what? Why haven't I started a YouTube channel? If you want to, why don't you? There's nothing stopping you. So here I am. I love talking about books. I love reading books. And I like monologuing about books, which is kind of like talking about it, but it's just a stream of consciousness. And usually my poor mum gets it, and she reads as well, which is great. Thank you. But sometimes I just talk about books a lot to her face, regardless of whether or not she sort of wants to hear about the book. So I thought, you know, like everyone else on booktube, I would start one and talk to people who actually care about books. So, you know, big brain move. But yeah, so I thought, like, a cute little hobby, and why not? You know, why not? Question 2 is, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to booktube? Which this question is giving interview. Like I said, what can you bring to this company? Like, what skills and assets could improve our company image? Also, you probably already know this, but this tag is created by Brenda C, so shout out Brenda. I don't think she's on YouTube anymore, but so thank you for creating this. The second question, oh, I've already said the second question. Okay, the answer to the second question, I wouldn't say it's fun and unique, but it is fun for me. So during 2020, I used to journal a lot. I would just eat up journal with me's. And I actually did start a little channel. I did 2 or 3 videos and then I said, this is not for me. So now I'm trying again. But so my plan is, if I can, you know, get it together, if I can find the inspiration to do it again, I will be doing journal with me's. I'm also not much of a romance reader. I keep reading romance books and then realizing I just don't like them. They're very much the same every one I read. No offense, sorry to the romance reader girlies, but that's not me. So I wouldn't say an anti-romance stance is what I'm taking, but you know, I just give me a book without a little bit of romance in it, you know. My plan also is, I'm not just going to be doing like booktube videos. I'm definitely going to do that because, as I said, I love talking about books, but I worry that if I like laser focus my interest just to books, that I will not want to do it anymore the second I get in a reading slump. So it's going to be sort of whatever I want it to be, you know, a little splish of that, a little splash of that. But yeah, so stick around if you want. The third question is, what are you most excited for about this new channel? And that would be discovering, like getting into the reading community, because as I said, I've talked to my mum about books, but my friends, they don't really read, so I'm excited to make some reader friends and just, yeah, discuss some books. Yeah, discuss some books. The fourth question is, why do you love reading? Why do you love working for this company that you don't work at yet? I'm sorry. I love reading because I feel like when you're watching a TV show or a movie, and I do love a good TV show and a good movie, but I feel like books can have more of a they can be more sort of laser focused to what you want to read. And like if I watch the first episode of a TV show and I don't like it, it's like, oh well, do I keep watching this whole TV show because all my friends like it? But I feel like with books it's a lot easier to be like, well, I don't like that, but there's 100 million gazillion other books that I can read that are exactly what I need it to be at that moment. Like if I want specific tropes or a certain storyline, it's a lot easier to find, because when you're reading you can kind of, like with movies and TV shows, you can interpret it to how you feel about it, but I feel like with books it's so much grander. Like we might read the same book and we might get completely different outcomes out of it. Like the bit that you love the most, I may have just read over, and it's, I don't know, I just like how expensive it can be, because it's like the cinematic shots and stuff is up to what your imagination allows it to be, whereas yeah, I don't know, nothing else is really like that, I don't think. But yeah, so that's why I love reading. Also the obvious, like, it takes you to new worlds, blah 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 blah. But yeah, I just like having a good time, and reading a book, I can have a good time anywhere. I could be in a historical fantasy, I could be in space, I could be, I guess, falling in love on a beach, fighting crime. But yeah, so I just like what it can offer you. Like it can be so different depending on who you are. It can be however much or however little you need it to be. Alright, so the next question is, what book or book series got you into reading? Now, I have been reading since I was just a little kid. I remember getting these slips, these like plastic folders with books in it that my librarian would choose, and she would ship it to me and I would read it, and that was the most exciting thing ever, which I guess is sort of like a book box, so maybe I should get one of those, because the feeling of getting those book parcels was, I have not achieved that feeling since. But when I was really little, I would love the like Rainbow Fairies series. I had a bunch of them. I don't know if I still do. Geronimo Stilton. That rat was my icon. I loved him. And then there was one, I think it was like a girl version of Geronimo Stilton. She was an icon too, but she just didn't live up to Geronimo. He was the goat rat. But then after that, as I got a bit older, it was like EJ12. I can't remember. There was like this book series about gemstones, and there was like 25 of them, and you had to go and the characters would go through like the forest in their kingdom and try and collect the books. I want to say Ranger's Apprentice, but I don't think it was that. And I also feel like the main character's name was Leaf. So do with that what you will. That was a good series as well. But as I got a little bit older, it was unfortunately the book that really like kicked it into high gear, that made me go, I'm a fangirl now, and set me up for my fangirl years, was Harry Potter. Which, yeah, I'm heartbroken too. We don't like JK Rowling on this channel. But yeah, so unfortunately it was Harry Potter. We don't support JK Rowling. But yeah, so I loved them though. I remember getting the first one, and I would sit in my room on my tummy next to my bunk bed and I would read just all day. Like I would spend all day reading the Harry Potter books. That was my claim to fame. I think I've said this before, but I did brag about it. Yeah, sorry, I read the entire Harry Potter series when I was 8 years old. Yeah, which I don't know if that's a brag or not, but at the time it was. But then after that, the one that like hyperdrived, that I had never fangirled like this before, I'd never obsessed over the characters like I did with this one, my main man Percy Jackson, my main man. And the Heroes of Olympus series, when I remember when House of Hades came out, like that was the next book to come out when I was reading. I think I actually I think I actually own House of Hades and The Last Blood of Olympus, I think. But that series, like, I would just think about it all the time. I would think about it all the time. And unfortunately, I still do think about it all the time. I think about it all the time. And then after that, listen, I am rambling about my favorite books, but that's what the channel's for. The next after that was The Maze Runner and The Hunger Games, which those two series hold up. Like, Percy Jackson I still love, obviously, because it's nostalgia, but it is written for a younger audience. I'm slowly working my way through it again, but because it is written for a bit younger, obviously it's hard to read. But I'm hoping that once I get through Percy Jackson, the Heroes of Olympus will be a little bit older, hopefully. But yeah, but The Hunger Games and The Maze Runner, The Hunger Games particularly, I know everyone loves it because it's God. I remember reading that as well. It was just, God, that book was life-changing. And like, when I read it when I was like 12 or 13, it was like, oh my God, this is so good. But now that I'm older and I've reread it, I'm like, whoa, girl, you didn't even understand what was so good about it. I could talk about The Hunger Games forever. I could. I love that book. Anyway, let's move on to the next question. The next question is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktuber? Favorite booktubers? Listen, how do you come up with ideas? Because I'm having a blast with this channel so far, but every time I'm like, oh, I should remember to film a video soon, I'm like, on what? I think, like, once I started this channel, I've started reading a lot more because I want to talk about books. So I think that will come into it. But other than that, I'm like, I have no idea what to film about. Should I just do little vlogs, like reading vlogs? I don't know. So, but I'm sure that I'll discover that over time. I'll watch more booktube, find some things that interest me and do my own little spin on it. But yeah, man, I'm like racking my brain. And then the last question, here we go. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be hardest to overcome? Listen, one thing about me is that I am a serial hobbyist, as they say. I love to start new things and then get bored of them very fast and move on to something else. So I think my biggest struggle, biggest challenge to overcome will be to stay consistent with a hobby for once in my life. Most things I come back to, like I always come back to crocheting, reading, obviously. Journaling, sometimes it doesn't happen as much now that I'm not in lockdown. But yeah, I think that'll be it. But I think I'll be able to overcome it because I like making my little videos, and I think it'll just be, don't put pressure on myself to perform like a full-time YouTuber performs, because I'm not a full-time YouTuber, I'm just a girl. But yeah, so I think that'll be the biggest hardship for me. Yeah, so that's all the questions. Anything else that I have to tell you? I actually have The Maze Runner right here. It's been sitting here the whole time. Maze Runner series, Maggie's Stiefvater, the Legend trilogy, you know, classics. Six of Crows. Those are some of my favorite books, that's why I own them. I'll talk about my bookshelf a little bit. So my bookshelf is an accumulation of all the books I've ever received in my life, and some that I have bought. I am a huge library girl. Like, I don't buy books very much because they're so expensive in Australia. So I hire a lot from the library. I have just started like annotating books, and now every time I read a physical book, I'm like, I want to be writing in this. I want to be drawing on it. But sometimes when I'm reading a library book, I'm like, oh, why am I writing in this? And I have to go, because it's a library book. But yeah, so my collection is very mishmashy, but that's okay. I don't mind. I like the variety of what I've got. Oh, this series, I'm gonna have to reread it. The Dragon Keeper series. When I first read this, I got it at like a Scholastic book fair or something. Oh, they're dusty. Oops, I almost gave these away, and then as I was about to, I was like, what am I thinking? I loved this series so much, and I'm gonna have to reread it soon. Ping. I remember when my sister, the Queensland Premier's Literary Awards 2006. So when I was 4 years old, that's so slay. Oh, when did this book come out? Like, it wasn't new when it came out. Well, like when I read it, I mean 2003. So when I was 1 is when that first book came out. But when I read them, it was just all consuming. This was like one of the first, this was like one of the first ever books that I cried to. And my sister got a new toy. She got a panda. She was like, oh, what should I name it? And I was like, Ping, name it Ping. And then we had this toy panda named Ping because that was the name of the dragon in this series. Anyway, I just love talking about books. Oh, and the writing's huge. That'll take me like no time to read. All right, guess I'm rereading the Dragon Keeper series by Carol Wilkinson, my favorite girl. I don't know anything about her. She might be awful, but I hope not. Okay. Well, that's all. Thank you for watching. I'm excited to be on booktube. I'm excited to keep creating, or start creating, but kind of keep creating, and take you along on my journey. So thanks for watching. I hope you stick around.